Good evening and welcome. My name is Dr. Jacob Sims, and I'm your host tonight. This is our open topic call for AMPed January 2018. I've got Dr. Michael Smallwood on with me and Dr. Eric Brower, and we're going to be knocking it out tonight. And I'm just excited because we are new beginnings. We are setting the tone for our practices in our life, and we're kicking it off right this year. So I'm excited. Thanks for joining us, and it's going to be a great year. A whole bunch of stuff. So, you know how exciting it is to start a new chapter. A lot of people kind of get down on New Year's resolutions, and a lot of times they get down on New Year's resolutions because people set themselves up to fail. You know, if you set yourself up to fail, well, then a New Year's resolution really sucks because it's not the right tone. It's not the right leadership. It's not the right. If you're, you know, as an example, you know, we'll just use this because it's a really, really common example of a New Year's resolution. Say somebody needed to lose like 100 pounds and they wanted to do that in the first 3 months of the year. You know, I mean, it would be shy of like amputating a leg. You'd have a hard time. You know, it's not a realistic goal for you to set to achieve in your life. And I want to see people succeed. There is no reason in 2018 for all of us to go to another level, to reach bigger things, better things, and to advance our lives in practice while serving people's health along the way. We are blessed to be in an amazing profession that can help serve people's health and their lives and to better families and communities through allowing health to improve. You know, I don't know about you, but you know, I've been sick before, or I've had issues where I've needed help, and chiropractic has helped me so much. But if I don't get that help, I won't be in the place that I need to be to serve my community. Now, I know I'm a chiropractor, and my wife, Dr. Laura, she's a chiropractor. And so, you know, I know that chiropractic is all around us. You know, we're all just, you know, that's what we do. But I can tell you this, health is your greatest asset. And we're blessed to be in an awesome profession. So we've got the AMPed conference coming up the 26th through the 28th in Atlanta. That's going to be amazing. Wondering if you need to go. The answer is yes, you need to go. You need to go. You got to go. If you're going, I'll see you there. It's going to be a great time seeing you and your teams. And that's really, really, really awesome to be a part of something big. This is going to be the biggest. And I say this every time there's a conference, because what we're doing is we're growing and we're growing and we're growing here in chiropractic, in the profession that we serve. And we're going to be bigger and better this year. So this conference is going to be the best one we've had. It's going to be truly amazing. And, you know, it's just going to be awesome. So make sure you're there. Make sure you're there with your team. If you're on the fence right now and you haven't registered, I urge you, like I really urge you to get there. It's going to make a huge, huge difference in your life and your practice. And that's what I'm looking for. So I want to say a couple things here. I want to talk about starting off right. That's a big thing for me. And, you know, it's like we don't want the past to dictate the future. We certainly don't want the past negative things to dictate the future positive things. So we want to leave the past and we want to go to the future. And starting off right is very crucial in making sure that you have a great year. A good start helps with a strong finish, and that's important. So looking at this, there's going to be several things in your life that you want to look at. Office, making sure that office is all set. So your vision casting, getting all your events set up, scheduling your holidays, and making sure your whole calendar is set. I'm not going to go into a lot of that because you guys know that, but make sure it's done. Make sure it's set. Don't keep procrastinating. Lining out the team, making sure the team is set with the mentality of going forward in the new year. And we're not looking back. You can't look back. You've always got to look forward. You got to look forward, look forward, look forward, look forward. And you know, it's like when we were kids, we lived on a farm. And when we were on the farm, my dad would mow these really big fields. We had these really huge fields. They were acres and acres and acres and acres. It was wild. My dad, he was funny because when I was like a little kid, like a little guy, maybe 6 or 7 years old, maybe it was starting at 8, but I was little. He would put me on the tractor, and he didn't tell me how to run the tractor at all. He just told me how to steer it. And he said, I will come get you when you're done. Don't worry about stopping the tractor. And he said, what you got to do is you got to mow straight lines across the field. So I'm like 8 years old mowing on this huge tractor across the field, and I know my dad's going to look at my lines to make sure my lines are good. And the way that you mow a straight line is you pick a point on the far side of the field, and you got to start your first line, and you make that first line, that first big long line. If you can just visualize a field and you're mowing huge, tall fields of grass, of hay, you've got to set that first line. And that first line is way across the field, and you pick that line and you watch that line, and you put that line somewhere on the hood of that tractor, and you mow all the way across that field, and you get your first line. That's your setting. That's starting off right. After that, if you've got a good line, then you can mow all your lines straight. So if you set your year right, you can mow all your lines that year right. You can have all of your things go right with the right tone and the right attitude and the right mission for that year. All right. So what I'm saying here, when I'm talking about picking that place on the other side of the field, is I'm talking about looking forward. You try to mow a line across that field looking backward, it's to be the worst line you've ever mowed in your whole life. Anybody ever saw. We can't look back to make progress forward. So we got to pick somewhere way out in the field on the other side, but we got to keep our eye on it, because when I mowed that when I was little, I remember it would take me a long time to get across that field. And I don't know if that was like 5 minutes or 10 minutes because I was a little kid, but it took a while. And I had to concentrate on that for a period of time to get my lines cut right, setting it correctly. Your marriage, very important. I don't know if you've noticed this, marriages are under a lot of attack these days. I want to see people succeed. You know, it really spreads out into places you'd never even guessed to have the problems. But guard that and make sure you set the tone for your relationship correctly. And then the last thing, and honestly the most important thing, because this is your foundation, this is your ground level, is you got to be right. Say you be right. I need you to change them. You got to get out there and you got to change them. The things that you got to do those things different, and you got to stay disciplined, because if you don't keep it together, nobody keeps it together. You drive the bus. This is your life. You drive the bus. You got to do it. If you need help, you got to do it. You got to go get that help. One of us, reach out to one of us. If you need to do something with yourself, because remember, really only you can change you. And this is the big thing. If you got to think about this, what's changed? Change is hard, but they say if you want to change, you got to change. Got to change, guys. And now's the time. And it's a new year, and we're going to start this thing off right. And you're going to be with us, and we're going to be with you, and we're going to do this thing together, and it's going to be truly amazing. So I'm glad you're on. Welcome to the new year. I look forward to seeing you in Atlanta, and I'm going to turn it right over to Dr. Smallwood. Dr. Smallwood.
Hey, guys. I'm excited to be on tonight. So we got, like Dr. Jacob said, the conference is coming up in a couple weeks. I'm so fired up for that. That's going to be a really, really, really good, probably the best one. And we say this every time, probably the best one, but I really think it is going to be the best one because it does grow every single time. So I'm super excited to be there with everybody. Dr. Jacob, that was awesome. I love starting the year off right like that. And like he said, you know, get on the bus or call somebody if you need help. That's such a important theme to remember. Don't ever isolate yourself, especially as you start this new year. Get ready and start it off correctly. But I'm excited for 2018. We did our vision casting for the office a couple weeks ago, and we did our families. Megan and I sat down probably, I think it was New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. We sat down and went over some things, and we're setting some big goals, some goals that I believe are absolutely achievable, and I can't wait to get there, but they're definitely big, and it's fun to set goals like that. So I hope you guys did all that, and if you didn't do any type of vision casting, do it ASAP, because setting the goals and the parameters is going to be big for setting up your 2018. But so I just want to talk to you about something that is I've been thinking a lot about the past couple of weeks and has been tested on me in the practice is, so McKinley, my oldest daughter, she's 2, and with 2 comes she's discovering tantrums and the word no, which is fun as dad. It's a blast. I love it. But what I'm learning, and I've been trying to become a better dad, trying to become a better parent, and I'm learning to try and set the tone for her and set boundaries. What I've discovered is that some days McKinley would lose her mind and throw a tantrum and freak out, and my whole posture was walking on eggshells, because you don't want to do anything stupid to set them off and they freak out and then they're crying, rolling on the floor, and it's like, how did we get here? But what I've realized is that me being wishy-washy and walking on eggshells like that has given her free reign to do stupid stuff. So setting boundaries and a tone, I've realized that kids desperately want boundaries. They want restrictions. They want to know what the limit is, and they'll test your limits to find out how far they can push it. But they want that structure and that understanding and that know that somebody is in authority, and these are my boundaries, these are my restrictions. And I feel that I've tried to treat my practice members the same way, because I really believe that practice members are like kids in that sense. They need someone to be the authority and set the tone for their health. So at the end of the day, we're chiropractors, we're business owners. AMPT is a really important entity to learn how to be a business owner, but we're also chiropractors, right? So we are a healthcare provider for them. They need to know that you are an authority and trust that you are an authority of their health, and you're going to set that tone. So when I realized that some people they miss the boat on that is when people start to dictate their care. So you get the people who, so starting Monday, I just said this to somebody today. I was gloating the other day about how great our retention was. And then 6 people since Monday have approached me about ending care. 6 in 3 days. I couldn't believe it. It was a rough start. But one of them, so since the 6 have started, 4 of them we've been able to save. The other 2, I haven't seen them yet. So I can't wait to see them, because I'm excited to hopefully go 6 for 6 with this. But I was frustrated because all these people were ending care. And I'm like, what's going on here? And I was getting this vibe that they were telling me, like, this is what we'd like to do. You know, I see, maybe if I just come once a month, how about that? I think that's what I'm going to do. And it's like, my question then to myself is, where did they get the courage or the confidence or the empowerment to feel like they can dictate my recommendations or they can dictate their care? Why do they feel like they can do that? And it's because maybe I was incredibly wishy-washy in setting the tone and setting the expectation. People need to genuinely know and trust that you are in control and you are in charge. And you understand that, look, when you recommend their first day, that you're going to recommend 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 visits or whatever you recommend, when you lay that down and you put that down, they need to know that you're recommending this not because you pulled it out of a silk hat, but because you genuinely believe that this many visits over this period of time is the best possible scenario for this individual's health, and that it's going to be the thing, the ticket that they need to get where they want to go. People need answers. They want answers. They're craving for solutions. People are sick. They're struggling. Nobody wants to remain like that. But if you provide a really soft answer for them, well, then they're going to take it and they're going to remain in control, and you've lost control. And sooner or later, all of your practice members are going to dictate your practice. You're going to have people telling you, I'm coming in, once a month. I'm just going to use my insurance visits. Maybe how about I am going to pay per visit. That's what I think I'm going to do. Well, no, this is how we do things here. And you have to express that to them and confidently explain that this is how your office works. And it's because you care about them, and you're not going to let any type of weakness, any type of misunderstanding get in the way of where you want to take them. And that's to a healthier future for them and their families. So I've really been trying to express that to our team and in my own life, that I need to set this tone and be that authority for individuals, because I don't want them to dictate their care, because at the end of the day, they don't know what's best for them in this scenario. You're the doctor. I'm the doctor. I know what's best. So I think that taking control back of your practice is really, really important. So if you're not confident in doing that, they're not going to be confident in receiving your care. And that's what I've noticed caused a lot of people to fall off sometimes. So the end of that story is that of the 4 people that we were able to save, the one lady, actually, she fell off. She was going to, last week, she told me she was done. She piffed for her year 2 this morning and gave me a hug and told me she loved me this morning in like broken English. It was awesome. But I'm glad to be on tonight. So I'm excited. Dr. Brower, you are up next, sir.
All right. Thanks, man. New York, New Jersey in the house. How cool is that? That's awesome, huh? So I'm pumped to be on too. I'm super pumped at the conference. I'm pumped to hear both of you guys speak, of course. And it's just going to be a fantastic conference, fantastic event. And I hope you're all starting your new year strong. And I couldn't believe it, agree with both these guys more with Jacob talking about his plowing. One thing that I always say to practice members is a good plowsman doesn't look back. And I just love that meaning like you don't look back. And people say, I have this, but I've always had this condition. I say you may have always had in the past, but you're not going to have it forever in the future. We're going to take care of this. I say that at least once or twice a day to somebody, because people just believe that they're stuck in a certain way. And some of you may think that you're stuck in a certain way. Well, this is the year that we're not looking back. We're not looking back in 2017. We're going forward. And like Dr. Smallwood is saying, we need to be leaders in all levels. We need to be leaders, like Dr. Jacob was saying, with our families and our practice members, and Dr. Smallwood is saying, leading and encouraging our practice members so that they look at us as this source of just health and trust and respect. And that's what we need to be in our community. So I'm going to be talking about something that's really near and dear to my heart, and something that I feel is like most things that you can learn and get better with. And just like a muscle, if you keep working it, it'll grow in different capacities, and the body can always adapt and heal and change. And this is one thing I can definitely do it, and that's your productivity level. So I'm going to give you, I got 8 productivity hacks, and I'm going to share these right now. And these are things that I do on a regular basis that some things are really easy for us to do, and everybody's a little bit different on things that we will take on. Maybe some of us, it's really easy for us to do marketing, or some it's not. Maybe for some of us, it's really easy to do paperwork, where some of it's not. So I'm going to share some things that are going to help you do the most important things that are some of the hardest things that we have to do in our lives. And we all know what they may be, whether it's working out or different things for relationships or different things in the practice. I'm going to share those things now, and I hope you can learn from them, and then, just take your productivity level to the next level, because being consistently productive in your life, especially in your practice, is one of the biggest keys to having a successful life and successful practice. Day in, day out, you just have to be productive and just produce and just knock. I just love this, like just knocking things off my list. So a couple things that I do. So one thing that's really important is the morning hour. And when you're in the morning hour, doing the hardest things first. So you wake up and, hopefully you have a morning ritual. Sometimes we don't, right? Sometimes we just got to get right to work, but have a morning ritual, have something that you can do. I recently polled my Jumpstart accountability group, and, probably less than a third were doing a morning routine. So I just want to stress the importance of having some sort of morning routine. You could YouTube Tony Robbins, you can pray, you can meditate, but positive affirmations. I just encourage you guys to do this. And if you're not perfect, just be better. Maybe you're not doing it 7 days a week. At least try to do it 3, 4, 5 days a week, at least the days you're going into practice, and be consistent with that as much as possible. But once you do that, the morning hour, knock out, that's when your brain's working the best, is what they say. And so knock out the hardest things first. The things that you least want to do, working on that talk or changing your doctor's report, or whatever it may be, your marketing attack, do that first. Do the hardest things first. Second thing, phone a friend, a mentor, somebody that's on fire. I remember, especially early on in practice, if one of my buddies, like Dr. Jacob or Dr. Michael or Dr. Jeremy Hess, if they were to call me, I don't care what I was in the middle of or what time of the night it was, because some of these guys are in different time zones. So if it's 9 o'clock here, it's 11 o'clock, or if it's 11 o'clock here at night, it's 9 o'clock somewhere else. I would get up and I would get on that call, because I knew that after that call, I'd be just much more motivated the next day. I'd be much more on fire. So phone a friend, get somebody on the call that's very motivated, or, and it will rub off on you, right? It will definitely rub off on you. Another thing that I do on a regular basis, if it's really hard for me to kind of motivate myself to do something, is I'll work with somebody, and that gives you that accountability. So, whether I'm changing something in the practice, or I need to hang something in practice, and I'm like, I just don't really want to do this. Hey, let me grab somebody to help me with this. And then together, you're going to motivate each other. You're going to work together, hold each other accountable, and you're going to knock out that task, as opposed to yourself just maybe putting it off. So working with somebody is a really important thing. Again, maybe you want to work on your doc's report, and you just kind of keep putting it off. Well, what's to say you don't reach out with somebody that's a peer of yours and just say, hey, let's train on doctor report, or let's do this, and it'll get that motivation up. Another thing, we talked about this, but just starting your day right, and part of that is starting your day with positivity and goals. So have goals of priority things that you want to do, 3 to 4 priorities, and then the rest of the list. And then at the end of the day, you know, you can rest your head on your pillow knowing that you knocked those things out. Nothing feels better than that. A big thing for productivity. You know, just the other day we had a snow day in our office. It was snowing during the whole day. We only probably got 8 inches, but it started like when we're opening our doors, and went all throughout the day, and it was super cold, so everything was just stuck. And we only there was like 250 or so in the books, and we saw like 35. So we were pretty slow, and I knew there was a chance that we were going to be slow. So we just came together in a huddle, and I just assigned tasks for everybody. We got pumped up, we got motivated, and it was such a great day. I'm going to have you all wishing you had a snow day if you knew how much we got done. So it was absolutely fantastic. Things that we just hadn't done in so long. We were motivated. We had good team morale. We rallied the troops, and we just got so much done. So that's rallying the troops. The next thing is go into the office. This always works for me, and it's just such an interesting thing. When you go into the office, like Dr. Smallwood is now, because his wife put him in a doghouse for this late call that he's on, but maybe it's his 2-year-old. But so go into the office at a time that way early or way late than your hours, when nobody else is there, or even more importantly on a weekend or day off, and just walk your office and just get a feel for your office when nobody else is in there, and no other things are kind of like fires are there to put out. And you could just be so productive, and your brain can just work in these different ways and have these different connections. Because again, you're not there just putting out day-to-day fires. You're there to actually have some critical thought and some creative thoughts, if you will. So go in on a weekend, with a plan of getting things done, and then you'll just be amazed what other things come to you, and you'll just start making these goal lists and checklists and getting this work done. I got 2 more for you guys, all right? Because I'm all about productivity, especially in 2018. This one, sometimes you just need to unplug and go on vacation. If you feel like your creativity, you're just uninspired, there's times you just got to unplug. You got to go away. You got to plan that vacation. You got to go away, and you will come back, and you'll just be getting things done like you never believed, and things that had been on your to-do list for months, you'll get done in one day. And then the last thing, and this is the thing that sounds easy, but it's really not, because people look at offices like maybe myself or other offices that have a big team and associate docs, are like, oh, it must be so easy because they have this team. Well, I can assure you that it's not. Every single extra person you have in the office is another person that needs to be, managed, led in some capacity, talked with, encouraged, making sure that things are being followed through on. There is a lot of work in being a manager and a leader in a practice, okay? And early on, it's even more work. Now, there is a lot of fruit that comes from it, a lot. Trust me, especially if you have the right team on board. There's nothing better. There's nothing more productive. But delegation is one of these things, and this is my last one, is that sometimes we think we have strengths, okay? And for a long time, our marketing calendar was certainly my strength, and filling it, finding screenings. But what happened was my time was getting filled with all these other events that it was getting put in a back burner, and it was really hard for me to give up. Now, the rule that you have to start thinking of, that if you have the time, right, don't have to think about this, but if you start not having the time, is if somebody could do it 80% as well as you, then it's worth giving up. Okay, now not saying you can't check in, and not saying it's a lot more work on the front end to teach somebody to do these things, but on the long end, it's going to raise a lot more fruit, because then you could do other things that may be more important, or maybe more in your wheelhouse. Because the truth is, if that was totally your strength, then you would be doing it. But if you've been putting something off, maybe underlying, you may think it's your strength, but it's actually not. So I hope you guys got a lot out of that, and I'm pumped to get on some questions. We actually have a lot of people on the call tonight, so kudos to you all. And I just got to tell you guys, I mean, this group just can't be a better group of people. There's people that call and are like, hey, I want to find out about AMPed, and we're taking these calls. And I just tell them, you're going to be surrounded with just the best and the brightest in this profession across the country. And I think everybody in this group truly knows that. So just keep stepping up, and let's get some questions answered for you guys.
Great work, guys. We got a jumpstart call after this as well, just to keep that in mind. So let's make sure if we do have a kind of jumpstart style call, a question, let's post it on that particular call. So all right, guys, I'm switching over to the questions right now. Keep your questions coming. I don't see very many of them right now. We got a lot of people on. This is a great opportunity to ask a lot of different types of questions. And that's an important thing. There's a lot of different types of questions out there that can be asked. And, you know, it's, there's no bad question really. An open topic call, I think it's really designed to give people opportunities to ask broad questions. It's not so specific to one thing. It's designed to give people opportunity to ask things that are on their mind. So I'm going to look at these. Post your questions up as we start answering, and that's going to be helpful. All right, first question. It says, have any of you worked with moms groups or the La Leche League? If so, how did you get? How did you go about getting involved with them? Dr. Brower, did you guys do that in the beginning, or Dr. Smallwood, did you do any work with the moms groups or anything like that? Either of you?
Yeah, we actually did. So I know. So I'll answer this, but message Lauren Cost, because I know she works with a ton of moms groups. I'm pretty sure she's involved in a lot, but moms groups are the best groups to get involved with because nobody discusses with each other more than women. Like moms, they're the tightest knit group on the face of the earth. I mean, they refer like crazy. Some of the moms groups, Megan would reach out to them on Facebook. She would get in all these groups. She's in like the Crunchy Moms of New Jersey, the Real Crunchy Moms. She's in all these like crazy groups, but get in like Facebook groups and stuff like that, and then just send them messages. I sent a message actually just last week, and I've been going back and forth with this woman who runs this huge moms like network on Facebook and a website for New Jersey moms. And she actually just came to the office today during lunch, and I gave her a tour, and we sat down and talked for a while. And we're going to be featured and stuff with their website and with their Facebook and everything. So I'm pretty excited about that. And then the La Leche League, I actually met somebody at a bridal show who's looking for somewhere to host that, and we may open our office up potentially for that. I don't know how that's going to work, but I think you can just message these people. I mean, really just reach out to them and just join groups on Facebook and the different networking websites that are out there, like Nextdoor and Meetup and stuff, and just send them messages and connect with them because they'll be your biggest referral sources.
All right, switching back and forth here. Let's see what we got next. Get the refresh on this guy. All right, right here. Good, we got some more questions. This is great. It says, since the holiday weeks, when we were open only 2 days a week, we've seen our busiest days of visits almost cut in half. What great tips or ideas do you use to keep people on track during the holidays? And what's something to do in the future to combat practice member complacency to start the new year? Dr. Brower, I think you'd be great to answer this one.
You know, these things definitely happen. I think, you know, sometimes when you close, you'll notice people not come back for like 2 or 3 weeks at times. And, you know, I think it's just a time to educate them and tell them why it's really important. And just kind of going into the holidays, maybe part of your marketing is saying, hey, really important to get part of even your verbiage in adjusting rooms is saying, hey, it's really important that we keep you adjusted through this holiday season. If they come back, just love on them and tell them why it's important that they should have, you know, been under care during this holiday season. I think it's part of it. One thing that I believe is just that volume handles everything. So when you start seeing enough people, then, you know, you'll have an equal amount of people that you won't see through these holidays and a little bit after, but then you'll have all these people, like you'll have so many students back in town, and you'll have certain people that may have had flare-ups because they're shoveling. And so I think it's just getting that strong base. I think it's educating as much as possible going forward in the adjusting rooms and in your strategic marketing. Like it was in our newsletter, hey, really important to get adjusted during this time of the year, is on our TV screen. So those are some little things that you could do and just stay in it and stay for the long game. You know, the short game, yeah, you don't have a lot of people, that you miss that one family that day, that really hurts your numbers. But when you get a big enough base of people, it doesn't hurt you as much, because then you have a whole other family you haven't seen in 3 years react.
Next one here. I'm still not muted. Okay, cool. So we're going to look at the next question. This one specifically is channeled towards you, Dr. Smallwood. It says, Dr. Smallwood, you mentioned that you had 6 people who wanted to quit care this week, but have been able to save 4 of them so far. What is your verbiage with them, procedure with them to save them and keep them coming in?
That's a really great question. So everything I know about saving practice members, I learned from Jacob Sims. He is the GOAT when it comes to this. I mean, there's the module. I think there's a video called "The Save." But this week has been interesting because they've ended, or they wanted to end for different reasons. The most important thing to do to save a practice member is find out exactly why they want to end, because they will never tell you why they want the real answer why they want to end. At first, they'll probably lie or make up something, or just say and try and like be vague and not try and be specific. The most important thing to do to save a practice member is identify exactly why. Is it a time commitment? Can they legitimately not be here when they need to be here? Are they working 9 to 9 every day? Is it financial? Are they in a tough spot? Did they just, you know, lose their job, lose their insurance? So we had a guy that lost his job and he's in between jobs right now. Or is it a value thing? Do they really just not value your care? That's the hardest one to save, because if they don't value your care, you miss a whole lot along the way to get to this point, and it's hard to recover all of that in an assessment room, in a side room for 15 minutes or 5 minutes. But finding out exactly what the reason is, getting to the heart of the issue and addressing that, you can turn the tides really quickly when you find out really what's bothering someone. Because, you know, people may say, I just need to end care today, you know, lots going on, it's just not a good time. But then you find out that they lost their job, or they don't have any money, you know, some major financial hardship happened, or something just offset them, and they're getting flack from their husband, and their husband doesn't really want them to come because they don't believe in chiropractic. So finding out the exact reason why is the most important, and then addressing it there. It's just like subluxation, root cause, and find it out and attack with all your authority.
That was awesome, Dr. Smallwood. Perfect. I'm gonna add one thing to that. You have to listen to them. The key is to go, and when I do this, I go in the room and I just say, "What's up? Tell me what's going on." Now, once you do that, you have to listen. If you don't listen, you've just wasted your time. You may as well just said, "Mrs. Jones, go ahead and leave. See you later." Because what it is that you're doing is you are connecting with this person. You must listen. Everything else Dr. Smallwood said, I couldn't have said it better myself. But it's very key, because what we want to do is when somebody will be like, "Yeah, it's kind of tough," and we're like, "Oh yeah." So like, okay, so like, what's up? And then you're like, they're like, this guy doesn't care. The summary is, you gotta listen, and everything else Dr. Smallwood said was right on the money. Next question right here. All right, here's another question. It says, the productivity hacks was gold and exactly what I needed to hear today. My question is, to get current practice members excited for a new location. Okay, I'm gonna take this one real quick. Remember this. People are excited about what you're excited about. If think about it. If you have a friend or whatever, and they come up to you and they're smiling, they're all pumped, you're gonna start smiling. You're gonna get pumped. You don't know why you're pumped, and you don't know why you're smiling, but you sure are. You're gonna get real pumped. You're gonna be like, "What's up?" Even if you're in a bad mood, you're going to be like, "What's wrong? Like, I've had the worst day of my life. Why are you so happy? What's going on?" And they're like, "Oh, this great thing happened." And pretty soon, what are you going to do? You're going to smile. 95% of you guys aren't going to be able to not smile back at somebody that smiles at you. Genuine, real smile, like a good smile. Smiles are contagious, and they're a universal language. When you're excited, they're excited. So the first thing you want to do is you want to say, we got this great new space. I am so pumped. This is like one of the most exciting things that's ever happened to me in my career, aside from things like people getting better. And this is fun. This is amazing. And I couldn't be more excited about it. And I am so excited because it's going to be better, more efficient. We're going to be able to see you better. You're going to have a better experience. It's going to be so much fun. And I mean, you're not really telling them anything except what you're excited about. And then they're going to be like, wow, that's amazing. That's going to be so great. And then they're going to go away leaving, and they're going to be like, well, Dr. Abby was so pumped today, and I guess her new space is probably pretty great. I better go see it. And that's what's going to happen. Remember that. I mean, you can get all dry and you can be like, well, you know, we've got this great new X-ray machine and everybody's going to really love it. But no, I mean, let's be real. Nobody gives a shit about that. What they care about is what you like. They're pumped if you're pumped. If you're grumpy, they're grumpy. And if you don't really believe they're going to get better, they're not going to get better because they're not going to believe it either. And they're pumped about what you're pumped about. Remember, you're the tone setter and you're the leader. How excited it is. They'd probably go out and see your new car in the parking lot. You buy a new car and be like, man, I got this new car. This thing's amazing. You should see this thing. I can't even believe it. It smells new. Nobody's thrown up in the back seat yet because the kids haven't ridden in there. There's no cereal back there. I mean, this thing's amazing. I can't even believe it. The cleanliness alone is worth just a look, you know, and it's like, it's amazing. And you could probably get somebody to go out and see your car. I've gone out and seen people's new motorcycles and their new cars when I had the time, and they're like, man, you got to see it. And they've waited for 35 minutes in the adjusting room to show me this like used motorcycle. And I'm like, wow, that thing's amazing. It's awesome. People love what you love. That's simple. I mean, there's no real trick to it. It's if you're genuine and you care about them, they're going to care about you and they're going to like what you like. Next question right here. So what are the best ways to establish authority in your office? Brower, I better throw this one at you, man.
All right. You know, I don't know that I think everybody does things a little bit differently. And I just try to always just be, you know, that sweet and sour. I mean, I'll say something and then I'll love on them. You know what I mean? They'll say something that I don't agree with, and early on in practice, I used to probably get a little bit more like emotional or in a sympathetic state than I probably do now. But I'll answer it and I'll explain why that's not true of what I believe and what I know to be true in health, and then I'll just love on them. You know what I mean? I'll just build rapport with them. So I think depending on who you are and how you want to do things, I think everybody can do it a little bit differently. For me, it's just a little bit of the truth and then a little bit of the disconnection. And, you know, I think people have to like you. They have to respect you, and you have to get all those things. And that's how I would do it.
Right on. All right. Okay, I'm going to throw this one back at you, Smallwood. It says, what are some midway action steps you all implement to make sure you're moving towards your vision casting goals?
Yes. So installing checkpoints for yourself is big. Like quarterly or monthly, well, first of all, when you make your goals, make sure they're quantifiable and they're measurable so that you can actually identify if you're reaching your goals. Don't just say, I want to be a better person. That's awesome if you want to be a better person, but how are you going to track if you're a better person by the end of the year? Or a better doctor, whatever it is. So setting numerical values and things that you can actually measure is really, really important. And then setting different checkpoints for yourself to check in on yourself. It doesn't have to be midway. You should do it way before that to make sure you're pushing towards that. So look at it like a care plan. If you know, we have a 12-month care plan that has 4 reassessments. We do a reassessment to make sure things are going the right way and progressing as expected. So you want to check in on your goals and make sure they're progressing as expected and you're reaching your goals. If nothing, I mean, the best barometer is, has anything changed? Nothing's changed. That's a big problem, and you're not reaching any of your goals. So checking in on yourself and having somebody that is checking in on you. So my wife is my accountability partner, and I hate it some days, but I love it at the end of the day because she's the best accountability partner because she's on me like white on rice. So, I mean, it's important to have someone like that who's going to dog you when you're not, you know, meeting your goals and reaching your goals or look like you're even trying to reach your goals. So set checkpoints, have an accountability partner, and make sure you're on yourself.
That's good. Next question right here. It says, what are signs that it's time to hire? So this is a tricky one. It's kind of a little bit different for everybody, but I would think we can all be in agreement that you don't want to wait until you are desperate to hire somebody before you hire somebody. So what I would suggest is that you kind of look and you analyze your situation. Is everything running smoothly? Are you getting everything that needs everything that needs to happen in the office? Is it happening? Is it happening smoothly and with excellence? The answer is yes. Well, then things are probably okay. As soon as we start seeing like a little bit of pressure and you're seeing growth coming, which we're all looking for growth, and then you see that growth season approaching and you're like, man, I know I'm going to grow, you know, maybe 50 or 100 visits or whatever it is that you're going to grow. Then you want to prepare for the growth. You want to plan for the growth. You want to visualize the growth, and you want to be ready for the growth. So if you look at that, you want to say, okay, things are going great right now. We're about to go into a season where that we're going to grow. We know that. If we were seeing 50 more people a week, could we handle it? And if the answer is like, yeah, but it might be tight, definitely time to hire. If you're like, boy, we have a lot more time before we're going to ever need anybody to help, well, then we don't need to hire anybody. But if you plan ahead and you just look at it, just add some numbers. What do your projections look like for growth? And if you're like, okay, I'm going to get that growth, you got to be ready for it. You got to be prepared to handle it. And if you're like, okay, we're going to increase by 150 visits or whatever it is that you're going to, I don't care if it's 25 visits. It's making no difference to me as long as you're making, incremental growth, trackable growth. That's okay. Growth is what we're looking for. There is no judgment in growth. Growth is growth. I've always been a consistent growth guy in practice, always. It's never been huge leaps and bounds. Usually it's just not the way. I'm okay with that. Some guys grow real fast. You know, so some people, it's just different. It doesn't matter. Growth is growth. So just plan on what it is. If you can handle it in your current situation and not be stressed and you can still manage with excellence, then you don't need to hire. If you look at it and you're like, man, I don't think I can handle it, you definitely need to hire. So look at it. It's individual. You gotta assess it. You're smart. You gotta make some logical decisions and look at it from that way. So just look at the projections, and make a decision based off that. Next question right here. I'm gonna toss this one. I'm probably gonna toss this one at Brower. It says, what are your procedures to catch people who are approaching the end of their care plan, their corrective care plans? Do you run reports or queries or what? Like, how are you doing that now, Brower?
So probably like a year or two ago, over the course of two months and long team meetings, we have a whole system in place for this. It's based off visit number and reassessments. And then the rest of my team will tell you, because they're doing it. Once we set these things, I'm just like, I'm out. I know what works. My team catches it. I 100% trust them. I trust them more than I trust myself with this. So feel free to message them and they can give you that procedure. But it's a good one. I know that. I was part of the development of it, but we just said it. I said it and we forget it. I forget it. But it's definitely based on visit number, reassessments, and we don't miss them. That's for sure.
All right, let's go to our next question. It says, how do you respond to practice members when they ask when their care plan is ending in the office? So I think the question is when people are like, hey, when am I done? I think that's the question right here. I want to say that's a great question. And I'll just kind of I don't know if I just want to be blunt. It basically, here's what the issue is. The issue is this. The issue is not that they're asking that, so we don't really even need to approach that, even though I'll give you an answer here in a second. Make sure people recognize that this is a process, and you need to make sure that it's mentioned in the doctor's report that there's corrective care, and then there's maintenance care. You need to address that in the doctor's report. So number one, you're going to address this. If this is happening to you guys on any level, like at any level of frequency, it has to be addressed in the doctor's report. So it's not being addressed in the doctor's report correctly if that's happening. The next thing you need to do is you need to make sure every single one of your reevaluations that it's addressed. So and I've said this a lot, you'll see me in different modules and different Hangouts and on all saying this. My team is always talking about they're on track with their corrective care. You're healing, you're doing well, you're making great progress, you're right on course with my expectations, and of course you always want to add, you are right on track for your what? Your maintenance care, or whatever you're calling that. You're on track for that. You're going to be able, there's a lot of ways to say it. You're on track for it. You're going to be able to transition seamlessly into your maintenance care. You're progressing very nicely, and you're going to be you're going to be able to do very well in your maintenance care. You think about it like that. There's a lot. I say so many things, so many different ways when it comes to that, because I'm always looking at where I need to be. So I'll just tell Mrs. Jones, I'll be like, Mrs. Jones, you're exceeding my expectations. Now I'm always honest. Like if I look at it, I'm like, wow, she really is doing great. Then I'll say it like this. So don't get me wrong here. Mrs. Jones, you are exceeding my expectations. You're doing a phenomenal job. Your corrective care is going to go great according to what I'm seeing here and what I've seen with your adjustments and how your body's responding. And you're going to do great with maintenance care. Maintenance care is going to be great for you. You're going to just be perfect for that. And so you're always talking about it. So with that, I understand. I've been there. And the reason that I'm kind of like all over this one is because I had that problem for a while. And I was like, man, what am I going to do about this? Well, it's address the objection first before it can ever be an objection. So one, you're going to be talking about it in your doctor's report from here on out. And if you already are, you need to emphasize it better. Number two, every single one, and I mean every single one of your reevaluations needs to include some commentary on how they're on course with their corrective care, and that they're on track, or they're going to be able to transition seamlessly into the maintenance. And they need to hear that. And if you do that, you'll never have that objection again, ever. And if you guys need to reach out to me, just you and Brad just reach out to me, and we'll talk about it a little bit more depth. But it's really a simple fix. All right, here we go. Next question right here. It says, what is the best way to handle people who are ending their initial care plan recommendations early? Will you add more visits to get them their 12 months, or just end their initial care plan early and get them to the prof? Brower, what are you doing? What are you doing on the profs here now? Like if they're ending early, are you just doing the profs and going straight to maintenance? Or are you doing it a little bit different and you just change the care plans and you add a little bit of the money to the financials?
Yeah, sometimes we'll add some visits to their care plan and then we'll do the prof, but most of the time we're just going right to the prof. And then we know for those people that need more visits, like let's say there's I like this one plan. If you like somebody that you think they could go to every other week, like giving them a 36 visit option leaves room for one time a week with flexibility, and then it keeps them mostly at the every other week. And then so if you need to say like somebody that has flare-ups regularly, I like that 36 visit care plan personally, unless you're keeping them at once a week, and then they can kind of use it as they need to if you feel like they're kind of falling in that pattern of going over visits.
Yeah, definitely. And so two things might come up here. One is definitely something. So say that person is coming in more frequently because they haven't quite made all the progress yet, and then they ask you the question, well, how can I be in maintenance care? I'm not quite there yet. I just say, Mrs. Jones, we're really going to kind of put you into a phase 2 corrective care, which is going to transition seamlessly into the maintenance. So we'll just see a little bit longer on the maintenance or the corrective care for a little while longer. And then we should be able to just step right over and call it the maintenance care at that point in time. I've been asked that question before, so I wanted to throw that in there. No big deal. People get really kind of hung up on the word sometimes, and they'll look at that because they really want to be termed like well. So they'll be like, oh no, I'm not there yet. How can I be in maintenance? I'm freaking out because I still hurt sometimes. And you just say, Mrs. Jones, look, I totally get it. You're just one of those few that's into kind of the phase 2 corrective care, and you're going to be just transitioning into the middle of that to your maintenance. No problem. No big deal. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Next question. It says, I'd love to hear some specifics on time management tools during office hours. There is so much to be done, and I find myself starting many things but not completing the tasks. Options. Dr. Smallwood, throw some light on this productivity time management.
So time management so we actually just started using it. I think Dr. Kowalski mentioned it on a call before. It's called the Pulse. It's kind of like Basecamp, I guess, but they just changed the name to Monday, it's called now. That thing is the best. So it's a really interactive thing we can have in the office to keep track of tasks. and if they're being done and if they're not being done and stuff like that. And it's essentially like a virtual checklist, and having that to organize everything is huge for time management, because it makes sure that I'm getting stuff on my to-do list done when it needs to be done. You can set like a time frame on it, so there's dates on when certain things have to be done by and stuff like that. But also, I mean, prioritizing, aside from using that, just prioritizing, making sure what things have to be done by this date, and having yourself a timeline so you know when certain things have to be done by, and if you're wasting your time doing something that can wait. And then just finish stuff to its completion. I know I do the same thing a lot of times, where I'll start one thing and then I'll jump to the next, and I'll do this, and I get sidetracked, and then I got nothing done. So just finishing what I started and being intentional about that with my time is really important. But use the pulse. It is such a lifesaver for your team.
Next question is going to go straight over to Brower. I mean, I guess this is, anybody could answer this, but I kind of like to hear your ideas on this one. It says team training and part-time employees. Do you only hire somebody who can make all mandatory training times, or do you have more flexibility?
I think for this, I think it's a great question. What's up, Mike? I think it's great that you know, you need to know what do these mandatory trainings look like. I mean, are you like really preparing for these trainings and you're setting aside time and all the team's there and this one person's not there? Well, that's maybe not a non-negotiable. Or is this kind of a loose period that you have? And you also need to think, how great is this person that you could be hiring? Are they a rock star? Do they have a good excuse? Or is their excuse like they just are like, don't want to do it? You know, are they a great person and they just have to bring your kids to, you know, school at that time? I mean, what is the excuse? How important is this training? You know, how mandatory is it? And that's kind of an individual thing. But if it's kind of a loose time, then maybe there's some wiggle room, and there's some times that they can catch up, or maybe get with another team member and train with them at a different time. So it's just kind of some soul searching that you guys need to think about, how important those team trainings are when you have them, in my opinion.
And team training is really, really important. So you got to weigh that pretty heavy. Next question right here. It says, and I'm going to throw this with you, Dr. Smallwood. It says, for the docs who have or had a non-doc spouse start the practice with them, how do you balance the leader of the practice driver role with being a loving spouse while pushing them to grow and hustle?
That's awesome. So you are the leader of the practice and you are the driver. Some of you, I know Brower's in the same boat as me, is our spouses are drivers too, and they like to drive. Megan's definitely a driver, but her and I think the most important thing is to have a balance. And they talk about this a lot at the conference. I know Dr. Jess Harden talks a lot about it, about having harmony between your personal life and your relationship, as well as the business. So you're going to want to be the leader and the driver to push them to work hard and to do things and to get stuff done, because this is the office, this is the mission, this is the passion. But at the same time, something that helped me early on is that I felt like sometimes I was forgetting. I wasn't looking at this from Megan's perspective. So as much as she was always, you know, Dr. Michael's wife, I'm also Megan's husband. So I need to take some time to recognize that and her needs and how much she's sacrificing to help support me in getting this office rolling. And when we first opened, it's easy to focus only on my needs and the practice's needs and what I needed to get the office going, to be the doctor, to be the chiropractor. But also I want to make sure that her needs are taken care of as mom at home and as the office manager as well. But just making sure that I'm always recognizing how much she's sacrificed and how important her viewpoint is as well. But find a balance to make sure that you're taking time off from the office, like Dr. Brower said earlier, to take time to decompress, because you need to connect with your spouse on a non-business level as well. Don't let this all become about just driving forward the office. But at the end of the day, that's what you're trying to do. So you guys both got to recognize that there's a job to be done, but make sure that you never, ever, ever fall into a place where you're kind of competing with one another and you almost, you know, you're just constantly butting heads, and your spouse will become your biggest enemy, and that's not fun. So make sure that you're taking care of your spouse first and foremost, and things will fall into place.
You guys may hear some children screaming in the background here. That's just real life sometimes. I'm going to add one thing to that. The office, you gotta leave the office at the office sometimes. I mean, I don't even mean that. I'm going to start over. When you're with your spouse, the office should just be dead to you. Like if it's a Saturday night and you guys are out on a date, the office should be dead to you. Like totally all the way, doesn't exist, dead to you. Because you'll be able to slug it out. I'm going to just make an estimation, maybe 4 years, and keep the office like, it's like the office is a little third wheel to you guys. You're like, oh, where was Mrs. Jones today? You guys are like on a romantic date or whatever. And, you know, it's like, well, where was Mrs. Jones today? And you'll be like in the bedroom, you'll be like unclipping different things. And you'll be like, oh, you'll be like, did so-and-so do her auto pay? And I'm like, are you serious right now? Really? Like Mrs. Jones is in here? I was like, if I want to take Mrs. Jones to bed, I'll take Mrs. Jones to bed, okay? That's not what we're doing. Years, maybe max, maybe 3.5 years, and that's it. And you're going to just hate it. The office will drive a wedge. You're just going to hate it. You got to learn. This is the answer to this question. 2, you got to learn to just have the office gone, because you guys have to have quality time for the 2 of you, because there's just nothing worse than keeping that office around you all the time. Be in the office, have time set aside. One thing Laura and I do now is we have an opening of the week meeting. It's hard at first, but I went along with it. Open of the week unity meeting, we do that. We talk about what we need to talk about, then we forget it. And then we have a close of the week meeting as well. And that's it. And that helps. It helps. It helps. And you got to set some rules on that. So anyways, for whatever it's worth, I hope you guys kind of got a laugh, but it's not funny for all of those of you that have been there. And it's just not that much fun for them. Brower's smiling. He's been there. Brower has been there. I know that. Smallwood almost fell out of his chair. I know he's been there too. So here we go. Next question goes, I don't even know where I'm at. I'm totally derailed. Right here. It says, what do you guys do? No, that's not it. It says, what do you guys go to keep your minds right every day? Best exercise to make sure that you and your team stay on point or mission. I'm going to go back to Dr. Brower on this one. How do you stay on point every day with your team and yourself? Stay on point and mission.
It's got to come from you. It's got to come from the top. In everything, it's got to come from you, the way that you show up, the attitude that you have, the way you handle things, the way they're going to see things being handled. And if things had been going, maybe like things got stale, you got to just find ways to drive them. It starts with the vision casting, is setting those goals. It starts with every single day, the daily huddle, the going over the goals, motivating, you know, not just like trying to drive them into the floor, but also, you know, being light with them, having fun with them. Sharing reasons why you want to do it, always the reasons why, empowering, educating in all areas. The team meetings for me are the biggest things for this, you know, and they're not dry. You know, you're relying on your team. Instead of one person making 12 decisions, it's, you know, the 12 people making one decision. You're working together, you're masterminding with your team, but you are keeping control of the format of that flow, and you have the overall say, and you're changing topics, and you're just boom producing. You're making lists that you're going to follow up with after that meeting. It's all those things combined, and it's just a true focus and relentlessness in you as a leader that will eventually rub off on the team. And I mean, I had team members that I just thought were maybe negative probably for 2 or 3 years. I didn't like their attitude always. They were great they had some great qualities. But maybe like they would always like really get emotional over little things, and it's taken them maybe 3 or 4 years to get over it, but they get over it. So don't give up on people. Don't give up on yourselves. Just keep pushing, keep driving, keep setting goals, stay consistent. Consistency is key. And if you do all those things, and I mean, I think the other thing is just, you know, obviously bring them things like conferences, let them see the bigger picture. And just sharing success stories. But there's so much that goes into it, but it's the little things. It's the team meetings, it's the huddles, it's the vision casting, and then following that day in, day out, and being a leader, and that's how it gets done.
All right, so we got another question here. It says, how do you handle the practice members that work 8 to 8 shifts and cannot make the 3 times a week, and some weeks not even the 2 times a week? I'll just jump on this one real quick. You're going to do your best. That's what you're going to do. And you're going to force a commitment from these people. So this is what I would do. Everybody's a little bit different. This is what I would do. And I had a similar situation. It wasn't as much of a time as it was like this person had tried everything type of thing. Sir. I would look Mrs. Jones in the eye and say, listen, look, Mrs. Jones, I understand that you've got some restrictions on time. I get it. I do. I could totally sympathize with you on that. What I need here in order to do my job right is I'm going to need a 100% all the time commitment. Even if you don't want to, you're going to make your appointments. If you want as a practice member here and have you expect anything from me if you aren't going to show up with consistency and with eagerness, because otherwise we're just not going to be able to do it. I want to do it. You have obviously a lot of things we can help you with. You need help. You've come to us for help, but I'm going to need a commitment. Do I have a commitment from you? And I'm going to make them actually say yes. And they'll nod their head and I'll be like, is that a yes? And they'll be like, yes. I make them say, people laugh at me for that, but I'll make them say yes. My team laughs at me all the time. I have one of the sweetest team members ever. Her name's Maria. And Maria she's like, you made them say yes to you? And then she'll just start laughing. And I'll be like, yeah, I made them say yes. Why would I not? I need a commitment. I would do that. I would do that. And then if they do that, if you do that, do it just like that. And they're starting to miss. You're going to have to be like, Mrs. Jones, listen, you're starting to miss on these. Like you're not making your health a priority. And we agreed that you would. And you've got to have that conversation with them because you don't want them going in the community and saying, I didn't get better because, they just suck over there. They're terrible. Well, in reality, they don't come in but once every 3 weeks. You're not going to fix anybody once every 3 weeks. You're not going to help them and their body get better once every 3 weeks. That's how I would handle it. And you force a commitment out of somebody. You see, I'll just step on the soapbox a little bit longer. People do not force commitment or accountability with anybody anymore. Look at everything that's going on. You do anything, be anything, call it anything. There's no standard guideline or anything else. Nothing. It's unbelievable. It's like the insane people are running the insane asylum. It's like it's just totally off the rails. When you, as a doc who's confident, who's affable, who cares, looks at them and says, listen, I think I can really help you, but I'm going to need a commitment from you. They're going to be like, wow, this is great. It's going to be like a child desperately wanting structure. Try it. If it doesn't work, I'd be in shock. And if it doesn't work, really, I should go out there and I should make them say yes to me. And then they'll stay on for like 2, 3, 4 years consistently. It'll be good. It's totally good. All right, next question right here. It says, when somebody wants to discontinue care due to finances, wife or them lost a job, what do you propose to them to keep them moving forward with care? Lower monthly payments, make the care plan longer, defer payments a month or 2, etc. Oh, I want to answer this one too, but I'm going to throw out Smallwood. Smallwood, what are you going to do, man?
The most important thing in this situation is your recommendations are the most important. So you want to try not to stray away from the recommendations. So I try to see if it's a temporary thing or if this is a permanent thing. Like if this is a temporary financial strain for like a month or 2, we've in the past, we've deferred payments. We've, deferred them into, if this is month 5 and 6 to 7 and 8, and they'll pay more for month 7 and 8 and much, much less for 5 and 6 to be able to get through that tough financial spot for them without having to alter the recommendations. Because again, this goes back to, these are the recommendations that you believe are in effect to be able to make a difference in their health. And you don't want to change that because you genuinely believe that. But if it's not a temporary thing and this is more permanent, then we'll propose lowering the frequency, which we hate doing, but we try to spread out payments first and spread money out before we start to lower recommendations. That's the last thing we want to do, but we'll decrease the frequency if we have to, but not past a point where I'm comfortable. And we let them know, look, this is not ideal. This is not what we've set out in the beginning. This is not what's going to get you the best results. I understand that you're in a financial bind right now, and we still want to be able to maintain what we have done here. And the worst thing in the world is for you to just stop totally right now and waste all the time and money that we spent before trying to get somewhere and then just start going in reverse. So that's worst case scenario. We don't want to do that. But I would find out if it's temporary, if it's permanent. If it's temporary, maybe defer some payments or push it out towards the end. If it's permanent, see if spreading it out would help, or then decreasing the monthly payment if possible.
It's good stuff. Next question. All right, wherever that is. All right, here we go. It says, how often do you change or update your lunch and learn health talk to keep it fresh? Okay, I'm gonna answer this question. Remember that you gotta remember this because we've all been there. Okay, we've all been there. Brower's gonna shake his head, and Smallwood's gonna shake his head, and everybody's gonna shake their head yes. You feel like what you're saying is not fresh, and everybody's heard it, and everybody knows it and has heard it 1,000 times. But here's the reality. The reality is this: you are talking to new people that have never heard it before. So fight the boredom because the battle's yours. It's in your mind. It's not with them. They've never heard it. The next lunch and learn you do, these people, I'm sure they've never heard it unless you're doing a second lunch and learn at that business. So you got to know that they've not heard it. The information's tried and true. And you winning like you've been winning. You don't want, you can't change. Okay. So and I don't mean that, please don't take that wrong in the sense that you're never going to change or update. We're changing, we're updating. But currently right now, I wouldn't make drastic changes to that at all. If you want a couple things in there to switch maybe a little verbiage to keep it a little fresh or fun for you, yeah, maybe think about that. But really you shouldn't alter the talk because it's worked well for you guys and you guys are growing and doing well. So I would probably change my thinking on that. And I would probably keep pressing on that because it's a tried and true thing. It's like, it's just what it is. So these people, it's fresh and new to them. It's just not fresh and new to you. Next question right here. It says any leader. So I'm going to go to Brower on this one. It says any leader, what verbiage would you use in the first meeting with a potential new hire to set the record straight and gauge whether or not this person is down for the true chiropractic mission and not just looking for a temporary 9-to-5?
I think so. My input in this, when you are hiring a new person, it's like, let's just call it signing somebody up at a screening. I mean, you sign somebody up at a screening and you're not telling them about a year-long commitment that they're going to have. When somebody signs up for your office, it's if they tell you they're full on board the chiropractic mission, they're in this for the long haul. I mean, and if they say that, they're probably most likely lying to you, or they just be a flash in the pan. I mean, I'm just saying. So I think you want to build these people. You want to build this value into them, and sometimes that takes time. You want to look for the things that are the intangible things. Are they kind? Do they seem to be hardworking? Do they seem to be consistent? Good learners? Are they students? And are they humble? I mean, if they have those things, then of course they're a kind person. Yeah, they're going to want to help people. They're hardworking, of course. They're consistent. Yeah, they're going to be somebody that's not jumping around all different jobs. So, I mean, anybody, if they have those other qualities, you can make them into a great team member over time. But early on, when you're just in an interview process and you're hiring somebody, that may not be it, unless you've known this person and they've been part of your practice for a long time. But if you're a brand new startup office, that may not be the goal, that you're trying to figure out who's going to be with me forever and who's going to be a chiropractic rock star. Just get those other things, and then that will follow, in my opinion.
I like it. Real quick here, it says, when hiring a team member, are there any forms or legalities that you have them sign besides the team manual? Brower, are you having them sign anything different?
Well, I think they just have to do the W-2s, like the taxes, yeah. and then that's pretty much it as far as I know for legalities, or maybe some different by state, but I'm pretty certain that's it.
Yeah, just check your state laws, but the team member, the tax stuff is universal, and then the team member thing is pretty standard, and then check your state by state laws. All right, best verbiage to provide a CA in order to present an ABN form for our Medicare patients to sign. Smallwood, what would you say? What are you guys using on your ABN forms? What's the verbiage for a CA? You doing that?
Who asked this question? Do you know the name?
Yeah, Omar Clark. Yeah.
Omar, I'm going to tag you in a post on the page because Dr. John Davila, both Hesses, and I think it was Maggie Rolls she's always on point with this stuff. There's one or two threads about this, and they gave specific verbiage for this. It's going to be way better than what I'm going to say anyway. So I'm going to tag you. I'm going to find those right now, and I'll tag you in those, and then look at those threads. It answers your question like perfectly.
All right, next question right here. It says, how do you manage the time to save a practice member trying to leave and not interrupt adjusting flow too much? It seems like I always get stuck in there for too much time, and it rarely ends with them continuing. Also, the financial objection to quitting care. It's I seem to never have a good rebuttal if their recommendations have no room for change. And I often feel like that they are just using that because it's a deal breaker that the practice can't control. I'm going to throw it back at you, Smallwood, because you asked you answered the first one. What are we doing here with the second one? Smallwood?
Sorry, I muted myself. Sorry, I was still muted. I was just rereading it really quickly just so I answer this correctly. So basically, how to perform the save without interrupting your flow. Okay.
And how do you? He doesn't feel like he's got very good verbiage for the financial. He doesn't have a good rebuttal for that. What are you doing when somebody's like, "Hey, man, I just can't afford it." It's like, I just don't have the money anymore. And that's probably not really the thing, but like, how are you dealing with it?
Okay, so it's really, really rare that money is actually the answer. I mean, well, okay, so that's not true. But it's really, really rare that they actually can't afford it, even though that is their real answer. They can. 99% of people can afford your care. They may just not value it enough. So my verbiage when I sit down with them, just like Dr. Jacob said earlier, is what's up? What's going on? Talk to me here. What happened? Is everything okay? And just try and meet them where they're at. Be really, really, really conversational with them and really like just relational to understand where they're at. Meet them where they're at. Always telling them, oh my gosh, like sympathize with them when they tell you, look, my husband just lost his job. I'm in between jobs, this, that, or the other. Sympathize because you should feel bad. I mean, that sucks. So sympathize with them and understand, like, look, I'm so sorry. I know how tight that can get sometimes, and really try and touch base to meet them where they're at. Then you want to discuss, okay, if this is a financial bind, how can you address that? But before you get to that point, remind how much progress they've made. Be like, look, I understand that finances can be tough right now, and I know that you're in a bind, but I want to make this work for you because the most important thing to me is your health. And if you look at your reassessments, I'll pull the reassessments up. I'll pull the reassessment sheets up where they said totally better, getting so much better. This changed my life, and be like, look how much progress you've made, Jacob. Your body has gone from point A to point B in just a few months, and I'm so happy to see that. And the worst thing in the world is for us to take a step back, because with finances tight right now, it'd be even worse to look in the mirror and feel like you wasted all this money trying to get somewhere, and now stepping back into reverse. I'm confident that we're going to keep going forward for you. It's just a matter of continuing on that path. And I know finances are tight, but talk to me here. Is there somewhere where we can meet you out, or can we make this work for you? Sometimes I'll tell them to go home and to pray about it, or to think about it, depending upon what level I am with that person. I'll be like, think about it and see where your budget is at. And I want to make this work for you. And then when they come back a second time, I'll have like an F. They'll be coded as an F, because if they spring this on me in the adjusting room, like, hey, I can't afford this anymore. I mean, I'll maybe send Megan in to take them in a side room, or I'll go in if I have a second and it's not going to really back the office up. But I want to set them up for a financial in the office so that then I'm fully prepared. I have everything ready for them, and I have verbiage ready where I'm not just going to kind of go off the cuff and then maybe never see them again. But encourage them, find out exactly what's going on, connect with them, relate to them, encourage them that they've made so much progress. Stopping would be the worst thing in the world, and let them know that you're here for them, you care for them, you're going to make it work, and see how you can.
Sweet. All right, I'm going to hit the refresh one more time, but I think that was our last question. Remember, guys, we've got a jumpstart call coming up right away, and we're going to be getting right to that call now. Okay, so that's the last one. That's great. So everybody, thank you so much for being on. Great utilization tonight. You guys all did really well. Thank you for starting off the new year right. Dr. Smallwood, thank you for being on. Dr. Brower, thank you for being on. And we will all three be back on here shortly for the Jumpstart call. So we'll see you in Atlanta. Keep pressing hard. Set the tone for the new year, guys, because we have an opportunity to shine in 2018. We'll catch you next time. Have a wonderful evening.